Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can create PDF documents inside a Node.js application and then subsequently send them as a downloadable attachment in the client browser. So for this purpose I'm going to use a code library which is called as PDFmake, and this code library can be used both in the browser and also in the server. In the browser it can be used by including the reference of the script in the HTML file, and in the server it can be used in the Node.js application in one of two ways. So I'm going to show you how we can use it and how I have used it. So before that, there is a link on this website which is kind of a sandbox page which will allow you to experiment with different syntaxes which can be used to create different kinds of PDF documents. You can style your paragraphs and texts in different types. You can create columns, you can create tables and lists and all that. So just take a look at this page so that you will know how to create different kinds of stuff as per your requirement. And then this library is also hosted on GitHub, and there are a couple of areas which you can look at. There are examples which you can look at, and then there is this documentation which is provided. So I haven't looked everything, and I've just looked at the basic stuff which I needed to use to create a PDF document in the Node.js application. So what I have done is to use this library in the Node app is I have downloaded the files which are in this build folder, and I have created a folder in the application folder, and I have copied them over here. So the reason why I have done that and why I am not using the standard way to use any module in Node.js application, that is to use the Node package manager to first download the dependency and then use it, is because the require PDFmake method is kind of buggy. I tried to use it, but the way in which the code turns out is not very clean. And I figured out that if we simply download it, if we simply download the source files and then if we use them directly like we do in the client browser, then also the code works just fine. So, and the code is also very clean, it's pretty easy to understand. So yeah, let's just move to the example. So I'm using Visual Studio Code for creating the example, and first let's just initialize the application with all the default things, and we will need basically two dependencies. The first one is the express module, and then we will also need body parser middleware to read and parse the incoming inputs from the browser. And let's also change the entry point file name to something else. And now I'm just going to create the app.js file, and let's first get the dependencies which we are going to need. Express and body parser. And then I think we will also need to use the path core module to set a default folder which we will use to fetch the index.html file which we will serve to the browser. So require path, and now let's have the port which we are going to use. I'm going to use port 5000 for this example. So after this, what we need to do is, first we just need to create an app object using express, and then let's also set the public folder, and for that I'm just going to create a folder over here and name it public, and app.use express.static, and then path.join, we are going to join the path of current working directory with the name of the public folder so that we can use it. Okay, after this we need to use the body parser middleware to pass the incoming requests. So for that we need to do app.use and then body parser dot, I think we will need to use URL encoded because I'm just going to post an HTML form with some input fields. So it also needs an option which is extended. So extended is basically to provide the to tell the body parser middleware if we need this to pass advanced kind of data types which are incoming in the request. I don't think we need it, but I'm still setting it true. And after that I'm just going to create the default index route. And let's just use an arrow function over here because it's the most current standard. So the first argument will be request and then there will be response. So okay, let's first test this. To test out this route, I'm just going to send a plain string, let's say hello world, and then let's listen for the incoming requests on the port name which we intend to use, and I'm also going to log a message to the console that this server is up and running. Server running at HTTP and then localhost. And after that we will need to provide the port number. Okay, so let's see if our code is working or not. So I'm just going to start the app and then cannot find. Okay, I just forgot a very crucial piece of thing which we need to do, and that is npm install, because we need to install the dependencies. So while the dependencies are installing, I think I can talk some more about this this code library. So what else I'm missing? Right, so in the build folder there are basically two files which we need to use. First one is the pdfmake.js and the second one is this vfsfonts.js. pdfmake.js is the core file which contains the JavaScript code to create the PDF files, and then this vfsfonts.js is kind of a compiled file which contains the information of the fonts which we are going to use. There is a default font contained inside this VFS fonts file, and if you wish to use a different font, then I think there is a way to do that, to create a new VFS fonts file which you can switch at runtime. So just search for it. Right, so if you will go to this link, then there are instructions to create a new VFS fonts file with the font files which you need to use. The default one is Roboto. You can specify custom fonts in, I think, a directory, and then you will need to run some command lines to create a new font file, a new VFS fonts file. And yep, that's pretty much it about it. So let's get back to our code, and then server is running. Right, so our default route is working over here. Now it's time to serve an HTML page to the browser whenever the default route with port 5000 is hit by any browser. So for that, I'm going to add a new HTML file in the public folder, and so I'm just going to copy and paste existing code, because I mean it's pretty simple and I will just be wasting time writing it in front of you. So, and I will explain what I have written over here. There is a form over here with the method post and the action PDFmake.pdf. So what we will need to do is we will need to define and create a post route, and then in the app.js we will need to wire up that route with this PDFmake route name. And there are two input fields, and they are for the first name and last name, and we will read the values from these fields, and then we will print those values in the PDF file. And then there is a button for submitting the form to this URL, and yep, that's it. Now what we need to do is, instead of sending this hello world, we will need to send this HTML file as a response. And for that, I'm just going to use response.send file. Yeah, so it's working. Okay, after this I'm going to create the route which we are going to use to create the PDF documents. And for that, first let's create a new folder and then call it routes, and then let's create another JavaScript file. So I'm going to name it pdfmake.js. So this JS file will be used to create the PDF documents, and it will also contain the route which will be hit by the browser with all the form inputs which we need to use. So first let me just copy it from over here, because it's the same anyways. Now we will need to create a router. We can do that by calling express.router. And then before doing anything else, let's first export this router so that we can use it in this app.js. Now over here, first I'm going to create a route, and then I'm going to test it if it's working or not. So router.post, we will need to match the exact route which we are using in this action attribute. So I'm just going to name it PDF over here, and then I'm going to write an arrow function. Actually, the first one is I think I need to write the arrow function syntax first. I don't know what is happening. So request and response, and then the callback. Alright, so let's test this too if it's working. I'm just going to write this PDF text in the browser whenever this router is called, And before we test it, we also need to wire up with the Express server over here. And for that, you know what, let's just write the code over here, and then const pdf route equals to require, then the path should be routes and then PDFmake. Alright, so app.use, and then we will need to define the route name. Let's call it PDFmake. For this PDFmake route, we will need to use this PDF route that we just defined. And yep, let's see if it's working. So to see if it's working or not, I'm just going to click on the submit button, because this submit button is going to post the form on this URL, and if it's working, then the route should get hit, and there it is. So our routes are working. Now the final part is to write the code to generate the PDF document itself. Alright, so for that we will need to get the reference for the PDFmake library and also the fonts file which we have downloaded. So const PDFmake require, and then we will need to fetch the reference from this folder for this file pdfmake.js, and for that I'm just going to go a level back in the directory, and then pdfmake folder, and then pdfmake. Similarly, VFS fonts, alright. So after this, what we need to do is we need to set the fonts property. We need to tell this PDFmake object which font information it needs to use. For that, there is a property which is called VFS, and we can set it with the value of the VFS fonts, and for that we will need to do it like this. I mean, it's all written in the documentation. I'm not really sure why we need to go all the way up to this level for accessing the font information, but that's the way it works. So by doing this, we are setting the font information, and then let's just comment out this code, and then we will need to read the first name and last name which the user is sending by posting this form. So for that, let's use const, because it's not going to change anyways. So fname to request dot body dot fname. I'm using the attribute names, the attribute values which I have provided in the name attribute in the input field. So it's the first name, and then we will need to get the last name. Alright, so before we write the code to create the PDF document, we need to define what we need to write in the PDF document itself. And for that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this snippet from this playground page, and I'm going to use this definition. It's a very basic one. It's just going to write 2 paragraphs over here, and you know what, let's name it something more like which makes some kind of sense. So document definition is this. We are going to print 2 paragraphs. So before I'm going to use this inputs, I'm just going to print out static text in the PDF file to see if it's working. So after this, we need to create an object using the PDFmake library, and this object will basically contain the, I don't know, it will have the object to do some things which we want to do with the PDF file. We can convert it to a file, we can convert it to a stream, which we can use in several different ways. So first we need to call the, actually it's not PDF doc, it's PDFmake create PDF, and then I'm just going to paste this document definition over here. Because we just need to supply this definition object as an argument to this function. And now what we need to do is we need to use this PDF doc to convert the PDF into a stream which should be sent to the browser in the form of a base64 stream. And for that I'm just going to call this method pdf.get base64, and then I think it accepts a callback. I'm going to use an arrow function for that, and the argument will be the stream of data which is converted. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write this stream directly into the response. But before we do that, we also need to provide we also need to set the headers, and we will need to convert this data into something else. That's another step which I will show you. So first I'm just going to write the header information. So I'm sorry, write head, first one will be this status code, and then the header information itself. The content type will be application PDF because it's a PDF file, and then we need to provide this stream as a downloadable file. And to do that, we need to write the content disposition header, and it is going to be an attachment, and let's also provide file name to it. I don't know, let's call it file name.pdf. Okay, and what now? Right, so now we need to convert this data into base64 format. You must be thinking that it should already be in base64, but we need to first convert it into a stream which is UTF-8 compatible, and then we will again convert it to base64. And I will do that using the buffer class. So let's create a constant buffer.from. We are going to read the information from the data by converting it to string in the UTF-8 format, and then let's convert it into base64. Alright, so after that, the only thing which remains is to end the response by sending the stream of PDF document content. Okay, so right now these two constants are not being used, and I'm just going to first test if this code is working or not, if this static text of if these two paragraphs are being printed or not in the PDF file. Let's clear out everything, and then this server is running, which is good. Now I'm just going to click on this create PDF. Even if I provide some values, some inputs into this, it will not going to work. And it says this site can't be reached. Data.string is not a function. Okay, actually it's not string, it's toString. All right, let's try this again. And okay, so we have a PDF file, and if I will click on it, then you can see that the content which we have defined in this object, this definition object, is printed in this PDF file. You can download it, you can save it. Actually, it has already been downloaded. So, and I've been creating a couple more before, creating this video to try out this example. So that's why it's the fourth file in the with the same name. So Windows is concatenating the suffix of the file number. Anyways, now it's time to change this definition, and we can use this first name and last name. So I'm going to use the tokens for the first name and last name. So and let's also change this line 2 into something else. I don't know. Alright, now let's test this again. So I'm going to supply two names over here. So as you can see, there is already suggestions of two names because I have already worked on this example before. And if I will open this file, then you can see that the name John Doe is over here. Hello John Doe, nice to meet you. And then if we will go ahead and provide a different name to the form inputs, then we will get another file with the different inputs. Hello Steve Smith, nice to meet you. So it's that's the simplest way in which I think we can use this library. You can supply you can provide some kind of validations to the input data which you are going to print in the PDF document, because there are obviously size limitations to the text content which can be printed in a single page. Apart from that, I don't know if anything else needs to be done over here. Maybe you can change the file name. Maybe you don't want to provide it as an attachment, but as a standalone file which will be downloaded and opened directly in the browser, giving an option to the user if he or she wants to download the file or not. In any case, this code is pretty simple to create PDF documents. There is no hassle, and I have seen a lot of different code implementations by using different kinds of stuff to create PDF documents on the server side and also on the client side, and this is by far the simplest one which I have come across. So that's pretty much it, guys, and I will upload this code to GitHub so that you will be able to access everything if you need to make some changes, or if you want to play around with this code. So if you like the video, then please like it, and also subscribe to my channel if you want to receive the updates about new videos. And yep, that's it. Thank you for watching this video, guys, and have a nice day.